fashion industry did not hear of a little black girl wanting to produce a fashion week. That was unheard of in the fashion industry, right? And so I got so many no's and so many people talking about me and all of these things. And so I just remember crying.
Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of All Things with Chanae Lavette. I am your host, Chanae Lavette, and look, I am so excited for this episode, y'all. I really am, because I have a very special guest. She is the president of the Miami-Dade County Women's Chamber of Commerce. She is also what I would call a serial entrepreneur, and she is the founder and owner of Loud, the love of urban design. And she's also one of my very good friends, y'all. Please welcome to the show, Dr. Karine Melissa.
Hello. Hi, hey girl, hey.
Hello, sis. Thank you so much for being here. Let me just start by saying, when I think of you, I think to myself that you are an answered prayer. I literally prayed to God for more friendships where I could feel safe, being his daughter, someone that also experienced God like I experienced him and could really just, be myself with. And then all of a sudden, randomly, here he come bringing Miss Dr. Karine Melissa into my life. So let me first by saying just thank you for your presence and for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, we're getting into all things fashion. Right. Because people know that if, folks who follow me on my page, they know that I love fashion, and I know you love fashion too. For me, I just remember, and most people know this in my terms of my story, I've always been overweight for all of my life, and I think that I've had this desire to wear cute clothes, to feel good, to feel confident, because it's something about a cute outfit that does it for you, right? Yeah. But I never really understood, or I don't think the world even knew then either, of just how plus-size girls should be styled or fitted or having more variety in clothes that I could wear. So it wasn't until I got to, I would say, college that I really started to see that, you know what? I don't have to be in dress barn, no offense if that's what y'all wear, but I don't have to be in certain outfits. I can still be cute and I can enjoy my size. So I want to just start with, where did your love of fashion first stem from?
Honestly, I would have to say I was a tomboy growing up, right? And so fashion was not my thing, although I was into TLC with the Band-Aid under my eye.
You was one of those?
I was one of those with the combat boots type and the baggy jeans. So I was all into that. And to break me out of that, my mom sent me to modeling school. And I fell in love with friends there and just the atmosphere, so much so that after I graduated high school, they asked me to come back and teach. And
you did your thing.
Man, oh my gosh. I just fell in love with the idea of dressing or styling who I was from the inside out. You know, it was how I felt. For me, fashion is just an expression of how you feel on the inside. Yeah. And so that's what makes you feel good when you put on a certain outfit, is because you're dressing that girl on the inside of you. And so that's what I fell in love with, the expression of fashion.
That's good. Because there's been different parts, I guess, phases in my life where you might not be the same person, right? It's hard for me to show up confident and happy if my insides, I guess, is not matching to my outside. So that's a really good point that you brought up. But I want to talk about a little more about, you went to fashion school and your experience there. What came out of it, and how was Loud birthed? Well, actually, tell the people what is Loud. Let's start there. Start there.
Okay, so Loud is the love of urban design. It is how creative we are. It's the love of that, the essence of who we are as creatives in every aspect, whether it's fashion, art, vocal artistry, just all of it, all the creativity that we are. It's the love of that, and we express that through this platform called Loud, Love of Urban Design, which we do Loud Week during the Art Basel season in Miami, and we just fashion shows, panels, all the expressions of art. We have like a Love Jones type night called Roots and Revival. So it's just the expression of art. And so Loud was birthed through, actually I started it as Fashion Designers Expo, right? It was FDE. I started in 2007. I used to be a fire rescue dispatcher, 911 operator.
Girl, she do it all, y'all.
So I used to do that. That was my career. And I was there for 7 years, and one of the old ladies there taught me how to crochet, because at night, sometimes we didn't get emergency calls, and so we're just sitting there, and so I just used to crochet. And then I started seeing outfits in my mind that I wanted to wear, and I was like, let me just see if I could crochet it and make it. Turned into making swimwear. Right?
Okay.
And
crochet
swimwear.
Okay.
Yes. And so I was like, let me start a crochet swimwear line, because people started buying it in the communication center.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can do a fashion show, because I used to do it at the modeling school, right?
Yeah.
Create the fashion shows for the graduations. And so I was like, let me create my fashion show for my swimwear. And so I started contacting all of these fashion shows that were already big in Miami, and nobody would give me a chance. Like, I literally remember emailing this one lady, and it was like, hey, please let me just intern with you. I want to learn. Can I be a part? And she was like, no, you don't have what it takes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I never forgot that. And that was my fuel.
Wow.
That was my fuel. And I birthed FDE from that, Fashion Designers Expo, because I said if nobody was going to give me a chance, I was going to create the chance for myself. And so I created this big fashion show, gathered a lot of emerging designers, and said, let's just do this together. And we did it in 2007, and we ran it for about 10 years strong. And it was so good. At one point, it became like the largest minority-owned fashion week in Miami-Dade County.
Wow.
And then God just started to work in me different. I started to, I went back to school to get my doctorate, and just forming this idea of leadership and really grooming people to be their best selves, right? And to bring their dreams to reality. And in that grooming season that God had me in, Loud was birthed. He just dropped it in me, and I didn't know what it should be, what it should become, or anything like that. And it just came to the moment where I knew FDE was done, and it needed to be rebirthed. And so I said, okay, we're going to do it for us this time. We're going to do it for the love of urban design. And so we rebranded, we rebirthed it, and it became Loud, and now it's huge and it's big.
Yeah, it's real big.
It's real big. It's real big. And I love it. I love to express our art.
So you dropped a few gems here, right? A few things that I need to just put some emphasis on. So first off, I love how you didn't let life circumstances or other people, how they felt about you, stop you. Like literally, instead of begging to be at somebody else's table, you created your own. Yeah. You created your own, and then you invited others to join you, and you what's the right word? You decrease these barriers, right? The barriers that were before you, so that other up-and-coming stylists can have an opportunity to showcase their work. And I think it's just so important, and it speaks of volumes to the type of person that you are, like 100%. So what also was something that stuck out to me is that here it was that your mom sent you to a fashion school, right? From her perspective, thinking like, oh, you're too much of a little tomboy. I got to get this up out of you. Not realizing that it really was seed form of who it is that you were about to become. So share with me a little bit about your upbringing and any influences that you would say from just your mom, your family, and how it shaped you today.
Okay, so I'm Jamaican, and so I've grew up in a very cultural environment. I think my Jamaican parents were typical strict parents. um, so the fashion thing was not. My dad was not seeing
with it.
that. No, he was like,
He was like,
yeah, he was not seeing it. And worse when I left my job to do it. He was like, what are you doing? You're throwing your life away, you know? But so growing up in a very strict household, I think the biggest influence was my dad. Even though he was not a fan of the fashion industry, he was an entrepreneur. And I saw him work so hard every day from morning to night. And I was like, I want to be like that because he's doing it to provide for his family. He's doing it so that we're good. And I was like, I want to do that so that my family's good, when I grow up. And so I think that was my biggest influence. And I think still to this day, I work hard because I saw it modeled in front of me, and even though he did work hard and spend so much time away from us, he always found a way to let us know that it was because he loved us. Yeah. And just little things, whether it's the tree full of Christmas gifts or being home for family dinner or, whatever. He just always found a way to show us that. And so I grew up in a very loving household. In my mind, I don't think that, or I can't tell you that anything was missing.
Yeah.
It was all there. It was all there. And it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. Many of times I would, when I share about growing up, I felt like my parents arguing was like my alarm clock in the morning sometimes, so it wasn't a perfect household, but in all of that, it was just everything I needed to cultivate this person that I am, And so that was my upbringing. And I think just seeing my dad as an entrepreneur was the biggest motivation for me.
Hey friend, I want to pause for a second just to thank you for being here. But there is a chance that you're here and not subscribed. So go ahead and click on that button for me. I'd really appreciate it. But that's really not why I'm here. I'm here because I want to ask you a question. Are you ready to start this year with passion, purpose, and an unstoppable vision? Then I want you to join me at Envision Me Conference 2025, taking place January 10th through 12th at the luxurious Del Mar Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So picture this. You are surrounded by like-minded souls, all engaged in empowering workshops and being inspired by power-pack speakers. Sis, at Envision Me Conference 2025, we are making the whole woman whole. That's mind, body, and spirit. So whether you are considering doing a career move, or you need some help crushing those wellness goals, or maybe you just need some good old soul care, Envision Me Conference has exactly what you need. And I want you to run, don't walk. I want you to beat me there, don't meet me there at Envision Me Conference 2025. Tickets are on sale right now, but I don't want you to think of this as any old ticket. I want you to think of it as an investment in your future because the vision that God gave you depends on it. Let's get to them goals together. Visit envisionmeconference.com to purchase your ticket today. Now, back to the show.
Yeah.
I can relate so much to that. My daddy, passed away in May. And I think often about his influence and his impact on me. And hands down, like I say it all the time, like I come from two parents who are hustlers. Like they were really about this entrepreneur life before it became a thing, and I think that it's such a blessing to have parents and examples that we can look towards. Like I'm wearing these glasses today because my daddy bought them for me, and because he loved fashion as well. Yeah. And just was like I said, the true entrepreneur. And I want to talk to you about that side of things, right? How yes, this is something that you're passionate about and that you love, but it's also a business, right? And it's also something that you want to be lucrative, that you want to be a success. And I know, and I want the girls to know too, some of the things that you've had to go through as you build Loud to what it is today, right? Because it wasn't always the 800 people that showed up, right? So to the girl that is starting off, or the guy, whoever it is that's starting off in the game of even just creating events, what has been some of your experiences that you can share to motivate them to keep going?
I think my biggest challenge when I started this was budget. You know, it's so hard to find people that will believe in your project.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because God gave you the vision.
Yep.
You know, so to be able to get somebody to be on that track with you is not easy all the time. And I've learned, or I've stood by, if you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
And so no matter who believed in me or didn't, no matter who turned me down for a sponsorship or didn't, the show was gonna go on. And I was gonna find a way to make sure it went on. And I think I got that from my mom. Like, my mom always found a way to make sure the house was good, right? Like, you couldn't tell that there was, you know, hardship in finances or anything like that, because she found a way to make sure dinner was always on the table. The lights were always on. She found a way to do that. And I think I got that from her, that it doesn't matter who invests in this or not. I will find a way to make it happen. And that comes through networking events, you know, the relationships that I have, being good to people along the way.
Yes.
So that they're good to you when you need them.
Yes.
You know, with not with the intention that they'll give you back something, but just the intention of, the ultimate goal is God being seen, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal. He gave me this vision, right? And it's so that his light can be seen through this way. You know, people always ask me, you know, what is the goal and what's the I guess, my purpose, right? I think that's the biggest question. You know, what is the purpose? And I said, my purpose is to be a part of bringing God's dreams in a person to reality.
Yes.
Right? Like that's what it is. And so I find myself doing that through the arts, through leadership, through as a college professor to the students, through so many different ways that one thing is being done in my life throughout, you know, the different avenues. And so I will find a way always to make sure that that is done. And I think ultimately it's through relationships with people that it actually gets done.
You know, I'm sitting here listening to you, and you know, there's sometimes that you have people that they say one thing and then they are another thing. You're not one of those people, right? So when you talk about, like, your purpose is to help other people see their gifts and bring out their dreams and all this other stuff. You do that even in your friendships, because you've done that to me, right? Like, we met one another here at my house, actually.
Yes.
I hosted a dinner party. You were invited. And just from hearing your background just a little bit, I'm like, wow, I've never met anybody that, just as busy as me. Like, this girl is on it. And from that first introduction, it wasn't that long ago. Truly, it really wasn't. It feels much longer, but it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But you've poured so much into me in that short amount of time. Even just envision me, right? The conference, and really just putting in my mind, like, girl, you can do this, and this is going to be a success, and it's going to be like, just hearing your words of encouragement has propelled me, and what I would say, the vision that God gave me. So it's like, I'm happy that you said that's what your purpose was, because I can confirm to you that you're very much so living in that purpose at this moment. For sure.
Wow.
Okay.
That is so awesome to hear.
Yes, girl, for sure. And speaking of God, you know, you're a God's girl. I'm a God's girl too. And he has taught us so much in the development of our businesses, and our careers and our choices. So what are some faith lessons that you would say you've learned throughout being a serial business owner, truly?
Man, some faith lessons. Oh man, there's so many. I have learned along the way that all of these, you know, goals or visions and things that he's giving us, it all has to do with what it makes us. He's creating in us his image, right? Yeah. And so all of these trials that we go through in producing an event or starting a new business, or all of that is to draw us to him. Like, it's all for that one purpose, you know? And I've so many tears. Yeah. So many tears of people I felt, you know, who let me down. You know, we're going to go through so many letdowns when you start a business. And it was so hard for me to get back up at the beginning. When someone let me down, it was so hard. I was new to it. I was starting something new in the industry. And so the fashion industry did not hear of a little Black girl wanting to produce a fashion week. That was unheard of in the fashion industry, right? And so I got so many no's and so many people talking about me and all of these things. And so I just remember crying over and over and over again. Wow. Like, there was so many tears, but that was God developing me into this woman that I cry less now. Yeah. I can't tell you I stopped crying. Yeah, I can't tell you that.
But we getting there.
We getting there. Right. We getting there. But I cry less now, you know, like, because I know that just is part of the game, right? Yeah. It comes with it. I've developed tougher skin, you know, because I think in business, I think here's the key that I've learned. In business, one of the things that we fear the most is people. What a person would say. Yes. If 100%. A person will come. Yeah. If the person will believe in us. It's people. Yeah. Right? And when they tell us no, when they tell us, oh, they're not going to buy a ticket to our event or whatever, we feel hurt. We feel, you know, a certain way. But if we can always remember that it's God leading the way, no matter if they come or they don't. It was all a part of the plan, right? So I think I shared this with you. I'd never forget our 5-year anniversary. We planned this big event, right? Rented the hotel, booked the hotel, thousands and thousands of dollars. Don't know where this money is coming from, right? But I knew that I saw that this was going to be a huge event. And up until 24 hours up until the show, I think we might have had 2 or 3 tickets sold. And I was a mess. I was a total mess. I'm like, God, you told me, you showed me this. And it just, out of nowhere, within like the 24 hours, it blew up and we had like almost 1,000 people there, right? Like over 800 people.
Look at God.
And it was like, okay, God, like, why am I stressing when you have it under control? Now I've also done the flip, right? Where I produced an event and not many people came. Yeah. You know? But it was still God. It was still God. And I think if we ultimately just know that it's still him through the flourishing of it or through the lessons of it, then we've accomplished the goal.
Right. You know, it's so amazing because I was going to ask you to tell that story anyways, because it's such it did so much to my faith. Because as I'm in this process of planning Envision Me and trying to get ticket sales up and all this other stuff, right? It's scary.
It is.
It's scary, but it's one thing to be scared, and it's another thing to just be scared doing it. And I'd rather be the one scared doing it. And at the end of the day, if God gave you a vision and he said to do X, Y, and Z, your job is just to show up and do X, Y, and Z. That's it. That's all. You know what else you said to me that has been so helpful just through this process? You said your job is to focus on the quality. And you let God focus on the quantity.
Yes, ma'am.
And I took that to heart. Like, I take it to heart even now, right? Speaking things into existence, knowing that when January comes, we're having a sold-out conference. Yeah. It's going to be done. And I think it's so important to align yourself with other people who think like this, right? Like, what if I wasn't around you and my other friends and all these other people around me to pour into me, right? Yeah. So let's talk about what has sustained you outside of your faith? Like, is it, well, I know your family, but what other external things, whether it's friends, whether it's relationships, that you feel like you lean on to get through those tough times where I want to just cry, or I just can't, do this thing? Like, what's your support system like?
A support system is so important. I could not have survived if it wasn't for a support system of friends. And my family's a given, right? But friends that were committed to me along the way. And these are God-sent people in your life, right? That will believe in your vision just as much as you do, or believes in you so much that they're gonna sacrifice time out of their life to support you, to be there when you're crying, to, give you words of encouragement, whatever. It's a handful of people. It's just a handful, but it's all that you need to get through. And it's good to have seasoned people, right? Some older women, for me, it's older women. And men, mentor. older people.
I think we be like leaving the men.
We be leaving the men out, but they be so important. They're so important. It's important to have the seasoned. It's important to have those that are our peers walking with you in this, and then those that are coming up, right? Because I feel like when you can empower them, you're also empowering yourself, right? So you ever heard that thing, like, if you're feeling sad, go give, go volunteer, go do something. There's something that it does that it just regenerates you, right? And so I always have those three groups of people around me, those that I'm giving back to, my peers, and then those that are pouring into me because they've been here before. And that's what my support system looks like. No,
that's so good, and it's so necessary. Like, I cannot tell you how, like I said, I would not be the person that I am today without having a good support system. And people often be like, I'm self-made. I always be quick to be like, I am not. Okay? Not me. No. First and foremost, I'm God-made. Yes. And secondly, it was a village. It was a community that helped me get through this. Yeah. And so I think sometimes people neglect to realize, like, no, my girl, like, you can't go at this alone. No. And what is so important, and something I think that I value a lot, is knowing that when you sow good into this world, it's bound to come back to you.
It does come back to you.
Right? Like, it just has to. And I think that's also what I gather from your experience, is that your success really does come from how you make other people feel and how you really are a good person that just want to do good in the world. I always said to you, like, you're the president of the Women's Chamber. And I say, Karine, I came around for you. Like, I love the chamber now, but I think a lot of our experiences, really the draw in initially is from just the light that you bring. So I would like for you to pour some light into our viewers, right? Like, just whoever may be struggling, whether they want to enter into the fashion industry or whether they just are really struggling on their entrepreneur journey, I want you to look directly to our audience members over there. Okay. And just pour a little bit into them and encourage them as they go on their journey.
All right. Take it one day at a time is probably the biggest advice that I would give. Every day has its own monsters, its own dilemmas and problems. And so if you just take it one day, one step at a time, you have the strength. You already have what it takes to get through it. Use your support system. Don't be scared of what somebody is going to tell you. They can only tell you what God allows, right? And if God allows it, then he's teaching you something. He's developing this character in you, because you don't forget the goal. The goal is for you to be more like him. That's the goal, right? So don't get too focused on what it is your hands are doing, right? Because this inside is what matters. It's how he's developing you into that that woman of God that he wants you to be, so that he can continue to use you in the earth. And so take it one step at a time. When depression or sadness or failure or these things come, grab a hold of your support system so tight and don't let them go and don't let them let you go, so that you don't stay in a state of sadness, because the entrepreneurship journey is so emotional. It's so emotional. There's so many letdowns, but there's so many joys in it. And so when you have those downs, just grab a hold of the people that are around you so that you don't stay in that. And then always come back stronger. And last thing, always keep learning. We do not know everything as entrepreneurs. We do not know everything as doctors or professors. We don't. Life continues to teach us so many things. So always keep learning. Learn something new every single day. Do not shy away from people that are different than you, because everybody has something to pour into this world. And so take what you can from everyone and show love to people. Be good to people. It'll always come back to you.
Look, those are some gems. And these are the gems that I feel like I get all the time when we go to our brunches and our lunches. Yes. We have $1 million conversations.
Yes, we do.
And that's what I encourage you to find. If you are struggling in this moment with friendships or needing good people around you to build you up, pray to God. Pray that prayer of friendships to God so that he can bring to you people that are able to pour into you and to really bring you life. And so thank you so much, Dr. Karine Melissa, for being with us today. Thank you for sharing so many gems and nuggets with our viewers. And so you are tuned into All Things Chanae Lavette. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. And I really do pray that this episode was inspiring to you, that this episode let you know that you are capable, and that, girl, even if they don't invite you to the table, go and make your own, and then bring somebody else along with you. And so until next time, see you soon.